Welcome to Dear Leaders Love Your People, the podcast that bridges the gap between what you need and what your team needs for you to be an even stronger leader. We're going to tackle topics like team culture, imposter syndrome, generational differences, but we're going to do all of that from the perspective that I think often gets overlooked. Your people's perspective, what they need from you. If you're wondering if this is like elementary school where we're passing notes between each other, yes, that is exactly what it's like, but we're not getting in trouble this time. That makes me your note passer and host, Brandy Sperling. I am a keynote speaker, writer, founder of Sage Culture Co., the learning and development company, and I am still the reigning goat of folding cootie catchers even to this day. In less than 20 minutes, we are going to make leadership development fun, actionable, and all about helping you connect and grow alongside your people. Wait, speaking of, I think you've got some mail. Let's dive into today's episode. Dear leaders, for the last few episodes, we've had a lot of conversations around some of the things that we need from you. We've talked about imposter syndrome, we've talked about giving feedback, we've talked about quite a few things. And we think that it's time that we had the conversation. The conversation around your role in creating our culture. Bet you didn't think I was going there, did you? All of the topics that we've been talking about obviously contribute to cultures that you're creating. There's a reason why we're having them, and it's because all of these soft skills, all of these expectations that we have of you as our leader are for the goal of creating a culture for us. And we want to talk about your role in creating a culture, but not only that, we want to talk about how you can actually do it for us. And the reason why we need to talk about this is because culture is just this big, ambiguous word that we have conversations about all the time. But if we were to ask every single leader that listens to this podcast what their definition of culture is, they probably would give us a different answer because there hasn't been this overarching conversation and framework that we can use in order to create a culture on our team, which is what we need from you. We need a repeatable framework that you can use so that way you can create these cultures that we are needing in order to feel safe, seen, and connected on the teams that we're on. And so that's what we want to give you. We want to give you this framework. We want to give you some ideas on how you can create culture for us because it matters at the end of the day. It matters when we step into the office. It matters when we leave. It matters whenever we think about where we want to be in 5 years and whether or not we see ourselves sticking with this company. Because culture isn't just snacks in a snack room. It's not nap pods, thanks Google for that. It's not tickets to a concert. It's not t-shirts. That's not culture. All of those things are perks. Culture is all of the actions, big and small, that we do or don't do every single day that creates the environment that we all exist in. Our team culture is how we feel about going to work on a Monday when we're sitting in our living rooms on a Sunday. It's how we feel about the vibes and the environment around us. It's not only how we do our work, but the resources and the avenues that allow us to do our work successfully. I am going to give you the best framework that you could possibly imagine for creating culture, but I'm going to start with an analogy that I think all of us know. So when you think of your role in culture, I want you to think of Aldi's. If you've never been to Aldi's, Aldi's is a grocery store here in the United States. I think it originated in Germany, but it's here in the United States, and it's like this speed run version of grocery shopping. So there's low prices, there's practically no frills, it's really good dupes for some name brand stuff. You toss a quarter in to get your cart. Don't panic, you're going to get it back, but you do have to put a quarter in to get your own cart, bag your own groceries, and then boom, you're out the door. But you're usually spending like half of what you would anywhere else. Plus the middle aisle is pure chaos. Honestly, you might find a goldfish there one day. One week it's air fryers and weighted blankets probably. And then the next it's, lederhosen and a kayak. You can't make this stuff up. Aldi's middle aisle is just absolute pure chaos. You never know what you're going to get. So even with all of these things, Aldi's, or am I saying that right? Is it Aldi's? Aldi's? I don't know. Someone correct me. So what you should know is that none of this is by mistake. The carts, their people sitting as they check you out really quickly, you bringing your bags, the way that they put all of their boxes on their shelves, none of it is by chance. All of it is built around the culture that they're creating. And that culture is simple. In fact, it's only 3 words: simplicity, consistency, and responsibility. Those are their values. That is how they've built their culture around those 3 values. When they say simplicity, they mean to keep costs down. There's a reason why all of their boxes are quick perforated to where they can pull the tops off of them and put them on the shelf so that they can save their workers time. There's a reason why their workers sit while they're scanning everyone out. You notice how at Walmart, they don't actually allow their workers to sit down. Aldi's says, yes, you may sit. You want to know why they sit? Because they can scan faster. They did trials and studies and found that consistently what they noticed was that all of their workers were scanning and moving customers out of the store faster when they were sitting down. Nothing at Aldi's is by chance. It's all because of the culture that they've created around 3 specific values. This is what we need from you. We need an Aldi's type culture. Not one that's crafted like Aldi's, but it's crafted intentionally like Aldi's has. Which means we need 3 things whenever you're trying to do that. We need it from you as our leaders. We need you to say what you want our culture to be, define it, just like Aldi's has. What values do you want to see on our team? Get really intentional, get really specific. We then need you to build it. We need you to create the systems and processes that reinforce the culture that you want to see on our team. We need the boxes that quickly rip so that we can put them on the shelves faster. We need to be able to sit and scan our items. All of this is hypothetically speaking, obviously. And then the final piece is that we need accountability. We need you to hold people accountable with love and care when we're not seeing that culture reflected in our team. But we also need you to model it really intentionally. We need those 3 things from you. That's how you can create a culture. We will talk about each of these 3 things in the next 3 episodes. But today we want to focus on the thing that Aldi's does that puts all of this in motion. Say it. We need you to get clear on what you want our culture to look like. As a business owner and key decision maker, you have enough on your plate. So find a partner that can make business banking a breeze. At Hawthorne Bank, we provide quick decisions and local support. Our expert team can work with you from the basics of sending invoices and accepting online payments to treasury and cash management, managing company credit cards, and providing commercial loans for your next big move. We can even provide options to minimize your risk of fraud. Let's face it, when your finances are in order, it's easier to keep everything else running smoothly. At Hawthorne Bank, we take pride in being a full-service community bank, and we are a partner in your success. Visit us today at hawthornebank.com and start connecting to what's possible. Hawthorne Bank, connecting you to what's possible. Member FDIC. Many leaders assume that whenever it comes to their role in culture, that it often just happens to them and they're left to lead it in whatever way they can instead of intentionally shaping it. Some might worry about choosing the wrong words or defining something that they can't actually create on the other side. And others might not even realize that their silence in itself, whenever it comes to defining a culture, creates an unclear culture by default. Whatever version of leadership that we're looking at, it all points back to the fact that if you don't understand what our culture is, we don't understand what our culture is. We need you to define it for us. But that starts with you reflecting and defining it for yourself, deciding what does it look like? What doesn't it look like? And putting words to the culture that you want to see created in front of you. And the reason why this first step matters is because if you don't define what our culture is, how are you measuring it? What measuring stick are you using whenever you're deciding what's working and what isn't working? In fact, I had a leader once in one team where our culture was incredibly broken. We could all feel it. You could feel the tension. You could feel the frustration between teammates. And the thing that this leader did in order to try and fix that culture was to throw new systems and processes at the problem. This leader was like, here, let's do it this way now, or let's do it that way now. But what he failed to realize is that we didn't need more systems and processes. We needed him to get really clear and define what our culture was, because none of us knew. He didn't know, which in turn meant we didn't know. He didn't start with the first step in creating a culture. He didn't say it. He needed to. You need to say it too. And you're going to do that with 3 simple steps. This is going to work if you are a new leader. This will work if you've had a team reporting to you for the last 2 years. Or maybe you're the owner of a business and you're trying to really define and get clear on the culture that you're trying to create. Doesn't matter who you are as a leader. You can do this anytime, anywhere. Maybe not anywhere. Probably not Aldi's, because you need to get in and out of that place. You don't have time to linger. There's just something about Aldi's. Whenever you walk in the door, man, my mission becomes simplicity, consistency, and responsibility. Like, let's keep it simple, get in and out. Let's, be responsible, take up as little time and little space as we possibly can. So maybe don't do this in Aldi's. So here are the 3 things that you're going to do. And we included these in your downloadable leader guide, which is always in our show notes. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to ask yourself, what do I want my team to be known for? What do I want my team to be known for? And you're going to write every word down that comes to your mind. The cool thing about this step is that it makes you get more detailed than just saying, I want a great culture. Of course we want a great culture. Everybody wants a great culture for their team. But this question makes you actually think about, if a customer walked into your office tomorrow and you wanted them to feel something, what would that thing be? So ask the question, what do you want your team to be known for? That's step 1. And then step 2 is going to be just do the opposite. You're going to ask, okay, what do I want my team to never be known for? What do I never want someone to use in a sentence when they're describing my team? So remember whenever I said, what are you measuring it at? This is a great question for you to be able to measure when your culture is wrong. Because if you have to define what the things are that you never want to see, the minute that you see them, your brain's going to go, oh no, that's that thing that I said I never wanted to see. So ask yourself, what do I want my team to never be known for? And then your final thing is that this doesn't have to be a top-down approach. Yes, it is up to you as a leader to define and get clear on your culture. Ultimately, whenever it comes to saying it, your first step, you have to be the one that does it. But you don't have to do it alone. So your third step is bringing your team into the picture. What if you asked your team in your next one-on-ones, hey, what is our culture currently? How would you currently describe our culture? The cool thing about that question is you'll have 3 different perspectives. You're going to have a picture of what you want your culture to be. You're going to have a picture of what you never want your culture to be. And then you're going to have a pulse of where your culture is currently. If none of your employees describe your culture with any of those words that came out whenever you said, what do I want my team to be known for? You know that we're missing those things in our culture. And it might be just as simple as, shocker, you telling your team that it's important to you. But in order to do that, you have to get really clear on what is important to you. Because if you don't know, we don't know. We don't know how to create that culture without the guidelines of where we're going. Because we're going places. We are going to create actions and systems and processes to build the culture that we want. But your culture has to start on getting very clear on what that foundation is going to look like. It's the difference between building a culture on sand versus building a culture on concrete. Because in our next episode, we're going to talk about how to create the structure of a culture with systems and processes and the bones that bring your culture to life. But we can't do that unless you take the time to decide, what do you want in our culture? And then don't stop there. Communicate it to us. Share it with us. because we're dying to know. We're dying for you to know what our culture is, because when you do and you give us the blueprint, we're going to be able to build something really cool. Culture doesn't happen by accident, leaders. It starts with you. We need it to start with you. And you start with saying it, saying what's important. Then we build it, and then we own it. But those two we'll save for later. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. Don't forget to grab the Leader Guide linked just below in the show notes. It's a downloadable resource to help you integrate today's topic into your team immediately. Subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to sign up for our newsletter so that you never miss an episode or a Leader Guide. They're dropped directly into your inbox. Until next time, dear leaders, let's love our people, shall we?